So sometimes life is full of decisions and turns that you make. Like if life was a maze, right? That maze, you make all kinds of different turns. And the thing is, what's really funny about comparing life to a maze is that life as a maze, there's not just one way out. There's not just one way that you can go. And the thing is like you could go all kinds of different twists and turns and find yourself wherever. And a few years ago, I found myself in a position where I could have twisted and turned one way. And I ended up twisting and turning in that maze of life another way. We were in the middle of the pandemic, and I had been reading comic books for, off and on for years. And had really just kind of gotten to the point where, like, every once in a while, like, I would stumble into a comic book shop, mostly because my boyfriend was going in because he wanted a new Star Wars comic or something like that. And every once in a while, I would pick up a trade, collected edition, or what have you. And I started getting really interested because we were living in an apartment, in a building that had like third, the second and third floor of the building were all apartments. There was like four apartments on each floor, and then the bottom floor were storefronts. Um, and I just thought that was really cool that we moved into a building that on the bottom floor there was a comic book shop. And that ended up being Clyde's comics and fantasy, um, in Rockford, Illinois. I don't live there anymore, so I can go ahead and talk about it. I don't think I'll ever live in that building again, but I can go ahead and talk about it. We lived right above a comic book shop, Clyde's. Now, Clyde's is probably it's run by a man named Neil. He actually may see this video, so hi Neil. And we had on regular occasion gone down there because Joe would hear about a Star Wars comic that he wanted to read. And we would go and we would see, hey, do they have it? That's when we really started kind of like filtering ourselves into that. And I remember Neil had a bunch of the issues of Mr. and Mrs. X because I was a Rogue and Gambit fan, from back in the day. And I was really interested, and I just read Ring of Fire. And I wanted to find it. And he found a lot of them for me. But, anyways, um, little by little, like I was finding myself in a comic book shop. There's another comic book shop in Rockford, that we went to one time because Joe was hearing some things about a different, comic book series that was happening in DC that sounded kind of interesting to him, and it was the Future State Comics. Now, this is probably right after they started letting people go into just regular stores, but with masks on, that kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I read Punk Rock Jesus because I picked that up at this one store because people had been telling me for years, read Punk Rock Jesus, read Punk Rock Jesus. The other thing that I picked up, was uh, Bitch Planet, Volume 1 of Bitch Planet. Now, Punk Rock Jesus is by Sean Gordon Murphy, Kelly Sue DeConnick, and I forget the artist's name on Bitch Planet. Please forgive me. Um, but Kelly Sue DeConnick wrote Bitch Planet. And people have been telling me for years to read those two books. And so I picked them up because, I wasn't driving to work anymore. I had a little extra money. And I was like, let me buy some freaking comic books, like trades, collected editions, right? So I picked them up and I went home and I read them. Now, long story short, I fell in love. I decided that I was absolutely in love with these books and I wanted more. When I went to the comic book shop again, I was like, I'm going to look for more trades. And Joe was looking, of course, for Star Wars trades and maybe other things, see if anything like struck his fancy. Um, and I turn and I'm looking at the trades, and I turn and I look at the single issues, which were right next to the trades in that store. And I saw a book. It was Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn. And I grabbed it and I looked at in the back of it. It was like there was a back cover. It was a black label book. And of course, I know now all about the the White Knight universe, the Murphy verse, so to speak. But then I had no idea. And I looked at the back cover and it said something. It had a picture, really beautiful looking picture of Harley Quinn. It's something to the effect of Batman's in jail, the Joker is dead, only one person can save Gotham. And it had Harley Quinn, and I was like, what? So I picked up the issues that were there, starting with number one, obviously, and it was a mini series. And I read what I had there, and I gotta tell you guys, what happened to me was magical that day. That weekend, I sat there and I read this absolutely wonderful, wonderful story, a different perspective of Harley Quinn than I've ever seen before. And in my times off and on with comics, one thing remained the same. And one of those things that remained the same for me throughout time was I loved Harley Quinn. Okay. I loved Harley. And so I got that book and I read it, and something magical happened to me that day. And long story short, I was in. I was in, and I started, like, we did the research. We were looking online, and we're like, okay, so we can start off with this, this future state stuff, but like right after that, it's going to be the most perfect time to jump into DC Comics. And which I was like, you know what? Whatever. Let's go for it. What are we going to do? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're stuck in the pandemic. We can't go see movies. We can't do anything. And I started doing research. Joe started doing research and everything. And I was working from home, like I mentioned before. I'm working remotely, and so I'm in one room of our apartment, and Joe's in like a couple rooms away, and he's sitting there and he's just like clicking into YouTube comic book, you know, YouTubers, trying to find comic book YouTubers. Okay, so every once in a while, like I'd take a break because he'd call me into our bedroom where he was mostly just hanging out watching TV. And he would, excuse me, something fell over. He would show me a new one. So those early comic book YouTubers that we found, like right away. Like he found Jen Mint. Okay. Jen Mint was one of the first comic book YouTubers that we encountered. Um, like we're like, okay, let's keep looking. Like this is freaking awesome. This is like this whole new, category that we weren't looking at before because we weren't that much into it. And this guy reviews comics and everything like that. And like so like we found Jen Mint, and then through that we found comics with Bueller, okay, which Bueller and uh Bullseye Bob did the Monday comic coffee and comics show, right? Oh my gosh. These guys are cool. Like these guys are like us, but like they're on YouTube, you know? And through that, because they had the Guess Robbie's pick of the week um on Coffee with Comics, Coffee and Comics, the Monday show, we found out about Rockin' Robbie. We found out about pop culture philosophers. And then, but I was just sat there and these were all great channels and they're all great, jumping off points for a YouTube comic journey, right? Um, and I've had the joy of interacting on some live streams here and there with Bueller and Bob, and I've actually had the fun joy of being on live stream panels for monthly comic reviews since then with Robbie on Pop Culture Philosophers and all the guys there. um, but one of the things that I kept on thinking to myself was, where are the ladies? Where are the ladies? Where are the women like me reading comic books and talking about them? I got that. We've got this great array, and like we're continuously finding people of men that love comics. But while they are great, I want to find some women. So while I was working, started searching for women comic book commentators, people that did comic book commentary, reviews, whatever, on YouTube. And I found some. I found some. Sasha from her channel is called Casually Comics, which is really funny because of what we're about ready to talk about. Sasha is absolutely hilarious, and what I really dove into was she does these videos. She's done these videos where she's going into the many times Lois Lane has been married because of the comic Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane. Funny stuff. The second woman-led comic book YouTube channel that I've found was the reason for this video. I know I've taken almost 15 minutes of your time leading up to this, but I wanted background so that you guys could find out exactly how special this is for me. The next channel that I found was basically these two women every weekend getting together and reviewing and talking about comic book news and like reviewing the books that they read over the last week. And the channel's name was Comics Will Break Your Heart. And the people, of course, that I'm talking about are Jenn and Mars. And the first time that I experienced Jenn and Mars on their Casually Comics Sunday show, just, like I said, I was going to say the word Casually Comics again. Here we are. When I first experienced them, it was actually like listening to them while I was working, replays of their live show because they would go on live. And um, I want I like listen to, because you could listen to them. You didn't necessarily have to watch Jen and Mars. You could just listen, right? And so I listened to a few of their shows, and I figured out they went live on Sunday mornings, and I was like, shit, these people are going live. I want to interact with people and possibly interact with these two smart whips of women, and just I need this, okay? I need this. And so I found out when they did their show. And as you guys know, usually on YouTube, if you do a live stream, there's a chat. And I go in there and I start typing and talking to people. And I met so many people that I now consider friends through the wonders of a YouTube chat live stream. Two of those people being Mars and Jen. Recently, not recently, but a little over a year and a half ago, I moved to Indianapolis, Indiana. I moved to Indianapolis from Illinois, um, and was driving around one day, and me and my boyfriend go pick up stuff at a nearby Walmart. I remember this. And I did not feel like going in Walmart, and it was just a few things. And Joe could handle going into the Walmart to find the stuff we needed. Um, and I look on, I think it was on Instagram. I saw, um, and I can't remember exactly who said it. I think it might have been Jen that told us that she had been diagnosed with cancer. And we recently had a circumstance in one of our families of of someone being diagnosed as well. And it was just like, oh great, now her too. I never met this woman in real life, but I adore her. Like, I didn't understand until that fucking pandemic happened that people could inspire and develop these relationships with each other and be separated by states, miles, oceans, fields of grass, and desert and mountain. But I found out that she was sick. And I remember Joe came to the car trying to figure out why I was so upset. And I told him. And Obviously, we both responded unfavorably to the situation. um, I have a hard time expressing um, emotional things. It's like because, like, for some reason, I, when I was a little girl, it was always, like, don't cry. Why are you crying? And it's because it was the cycle. Like, everyone was like that. Like, everyone's parents were like that. Whereas, like, some people are completely just closed off and have a hard time showing emotion. Some people click the other way when they're an adult and they're out of that situation, and I click the other way and I cry at every goddamn thing. But I sat there and I was crying, and I'm like, I know that my boyfriend is has um, a lot of difficulty processing when I get emotional like that, and because he all he wants to do is he doesn't want it to happen. He wants to fix it, like, because he doesn't want me sad. And so I basically had to tell him I'm going to cry, and just be forewarned that I don't think you can fix it. And I have a hard time just being in something and reacting to something and just being there. I don't know if people really understand the impacts that they have on other people. I started doing I went from doing a podcast where I just talked about random entertainment, pop culture like shit. And I went and I started this channel because I wanted to be like Jenn and Mars. A lot of you know me, granted online, not in person. A lot of you know me. Some of you have met me in person. Some of you watching this might have met me in person. There's a couple people I have met in person over the years. Um, but like, it's just, I'm here doing this because they inspired me. Let's get some more women out there doing this, right? Like, I want to be like Jenn and Mars. And right now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you guys. I want to entice you all. Anyone watching this, there's going to be a link in the description. The link in the description is for Jenn. She has a GoFundMe. And I would really appreciate it if you guys gave of yourselves, your money, your time, if you're able, to help her out. sometimes like I think of I have a degree in theater, so sometimes I think about like stuff in reference to theater, stage plays, like scripted plays, right? So I think about like the idea of not understanding your impact and the impact of life while it's happening. So like our town, right? Do human beings ever realize life while they live it? And if you talk to anybody that's gotten to know Jenn in real life, in person, or have gotten close with her, this is a person that likes to go live her life, do things, go out, be with people, enjoy people, love the things she loves, love the people she loves. And I don't know. And I hope she does. I hope she realizes this. I don't think a lot of people get the opportunity to understand the impact that they've had on people. And I want I wanted to do this. There was a call to everyone out there that knew Jenn by Comics of Bueller. Bueller put out a video. That's why I'm doing this. Um, I'm not monetized. I could never dream that I would ever make money off of YouTube. Okay. So I don't care if you watch my video and you watch one video and you never subscribe to me, but this one video makes you go and give her, a dollar, five, whatever, because that's a worthwhile use of your time. Um, and you never come back here. Well, then I succeeded. I had the impact that I needed to have at this moment in time, right here, right now. So please, she needs help. We can help her. If you have time, money, influence, even influence, guys, if you're seeing this or you see my Instagram post about her or what have you, go. I'm going to actually, after I post this, I'm going to add a link to my link tree. That's going to be like you will have no way to not be able to find this damn thing. Okay, so like if you go to my Instagram, you go to my profile, you go to my link tree, it's gonna be in there. Okay, you go to the description down below, it's gonna be in there. Okay, so you have plenty of opportunity. Maybe okay, I think I have the link for my link tree in the channel bio, the channel description here. The link tree is there. Go forth. Give her money. Okay? Give her money. Give her money. Give her money. Give her money. Give her your money. If you can. I mean, we've all got stuff going on, but if you can, give her your money. It's a far, far better thing that you do than just hanging out and not doing anything. Right? Right? Good. Thanks, guys, for letting me take some time out of your day to talk about my friend Jenn and the impact that she's made in my life. And hopefully, you go and you help Jenn out. And yeah, other than that, Keep your eyes and ears open. If you see something, say something. And remember, the complacent never make a difference. So go out there and make a difference. This is the Officially Unofficial Geek channel. My name is Carrie Quinn. Until next time, I'll be seeing ya. Bye.